share with you today a priceless moment where I was coaching a rider student. It just illustrates a lot of things that I want to talk about here, because it's so very frustrating if you are a coach or a teacher or an instructor when you see somebody who desperately needs your help with their student, but yet they're not able to give themselves permission to get your help. So hi, my name is Chris Adderson. I'm the founder of the For the Horse Harmony program, online riders program. If you'd like to see when I go live and get notifications, just click on the bell icon. And hearing those objections that I mentioned earlier, when you're really deeply connected with your student and you want so much for them to get results with their horse, it can be devastating, can't it? This last week for me was very inspiring because I taught several lessons online, in person, and within our program. And each of them had very inspiring lessons for me. So I wanted to share with you just a couple of those and relate to them keys that we need as we work with our horses. First key that I want to talk to you about is getting to the root of the problem, okay? And an example of this, there was a woman, her name is Anne, in Scotland. So Anne made a post, and she tagged me in the post. And what she had done is she watched one of my YouTube videos. So if you want to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, just feel free to do that. Would be great. I'd greatly appreciate it. But she had watched one of my YouTube videos. And her story is her horse was having trouble with the trimmer, right? She had a farrier visiting. And so she had heard and had been warned about how this horse had trouble with the farrier. And actually the farrier had previous experiences with this horse that were not so desirable. And so there was a lot of anxiety around this trimming day. And what Anne did was she watched my YouTube video and she applied the dwell time that I talked about, right? Finding space within herself, becoming the guide that she needed to be to help her horse to think through the problem that it was presented with, right? And what was the root of the problem? This is the key that I want to talk about today. What is the root of the problem with your horse? And Anne was able to use the dwell time, find the root of the problem, support her horse, and actually the outcome was a positive experience for everyone. I believe what I perceive as happening online as we discuss things was that she was able to let go of the emotional charge that was behind the situation. She got down to the root of the problem, let go of the emotional charge. She could then think through it for herself, come up with a solution without judgment at all towards her horse, and help her horse. So getting to the root of the problem is absolutely key. You can ask yourself a question as you try to get to the root of the problem. And the question is this: is your horse able to think through this problem? Is my horse able to think through this problem? You know, we assume a lot of the times that our horses are totally able to do things. They're able to figure it out when there's something that's stopping them from being able to figure it out. And all you need to do is become the guide and to help them, which is what Anne did. All right, so let's go now to this other lesson that I had that I was mentioning that I had this week, and it was an personal lesson, something that hasn't happened for a long time, but it was a personal lesson, and it was a student of mine. Her name is Sarah, and she had come to me for help and support with her horse because she was struggling. What she said was that the horse always wanted to do her own thing or do it the way the horse wanted to do it and not listen to me. And so she felt that she didn't have a harmonic relationship in the slightest, right? There was no harmonic relationship at all there. So she came to me wanting help and support with her riding because she wanted to reach the highest levels of dressage and do lateral movements and piaffe and passage and things. Everything just was falling apart for her. And yet here we were in this lesson. Sarah was blocking the ability to be coached with her horse, right? So she was not giving herself permission to be coached at this moment. And I'm going to tell you exactly how we went through this. When this happens with a student, right, whether you're the teacher or whether you're experiencing it for yourself, what's going on, as Anne had done, it stops the progress that you can make with your horse, right? It stops you from getting a bond with your horse. It stops you from getting the results that you really want with your horse. You can't go forward until you resolve those things. And that's what we do in our program. We help you to find where the blockages are so you can let them go and then you can go forward. And so now in the lesson, right, it was the lesson time. And so everything that was in Sarah's mind was revolved around how she needed to get to her lesson. And so she went out to get to the horse and her horse was lying down. And Sarah was incredibly frustrated, right? It was her lesson time. Here her horse was lying down, was wasting time. The horse was having a nap. She just wanted to get busy and not waste time. And so I watched Sarah approach the horse and I thought to myself, okay, this is where our lesson is actually going to start. It's not going to start in the indoor doing dressage, right? This is where the lesson is going to start. And so I watched Sarah approach her horse, and I could see what was going on inside her mind. She had the halter and she was like walking directly up to the horse lying down. And I said, just wait a minute, can we do things a little bit differently here? And immediately Sarah got very defensive, and I could see in her body language, she was saying, I know what I'm doing. I've done this with my horse so many times. I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to do what I'm doing. It works, and I'm going to do it that way. Not coachable, right? Immediately the block comes up of her not being coachable, not willing and able. And I'm not blaming or anything here. I'm just using this to point out that sometimes we let this happen and we don't realize this is happening. So Sarah desperately wanted help, but she wasn't able to give herself permission yet. She wasn't able and willing because of what blockages were there on so many deep levels within herself that she was struggling with. And this is precisely what we do in our mindset program. The mindset section of our program, right? At the very beginning of our program, we work very deeply with each of our students to find out what is indeed holding them back. And so with Sarah, we had worked with her already on some of this. We started to get into this part of it. And so what changed the situation immediately was I was able to say to her, remember our mindset session and remember that session and what went on in that session. I could see inside her, she said, okay, I'll give it a try, but only a little bit, right? All the time she was thinking, right, I'm just going to try this then I'll just go back to doing what I want to do because I know that works, right? I'll just go through the motions, right? So she still was not able to open up. And so that's when I proceeded to coach Sarah with our horse. And this is what happened. Actually, in the middle of Sarah walking up to her horse with her halter in her hand, going to make the horse get up, right? She was going to do whatever it took to make the horse get up because she was still feeling, right, we're wasting precious lesson time, etc., etc. And she had an agenda. She was going to make this happen. She was going to drive her horse to get up with the lead rope. And then I said, wait a minute, stop. Because as she walked towards her horse, I could see her horse get tense, right? Her horse's head came up, the neck got tense. I said, stop, let's not go any further. And Sarah did. She stopped. And we did a few things. We tweaked a few things. I had her do a few things. But she still couldn't see what was going on, and she didn't comprehend. She couldn't see exactly what I could see from the outside. And so that's where my coaching went to, what she couldn't see. And so as we did these few things, I could see Sarah get more and more receptive with each step. And there was still a part left. There was still a part left that I could see where she was being a robot, right? She was physically there, but she wasn't present. And I'm going to just say that again. She was physically standing there doing stuff, doing things, but she wasn't yet present. She turned to me and she said, "Now what?" and scowled, right? As if to say, this isn't going to work. This is totally ridiculous. We're still wasting my precious lesson time. Now what do you want me to do? Right? And so I said, just think about your horse getting up. Sarah was now open enough to receive coaching to the point where she could. And so I saw her completely freeze and I saw her change. And she did, right? She stopped. She became present and she started to think about her horse just getting up. She was about 3 feet from her horse at this time. And as she worked on this, I could see her horse changing. I could see how the words that she had in her mind were getting transferred to her horse, and her horse was receiving it. And I could see how the horse was then starting to communicate back with her, because I didn't tell you this, but this horse was very hard to catch, right? And that's why Sarah had this preconceived idea that she was going to go out, get her horse, catch her horse, and going to make it happen. But as we went through this process, and as I worked with her in a specific way, because I knew the kind of learner that she was, and this is what we delved into also in our program. If you get a chance to work with us, we learn exactly the kind of learner that you are, and we approach your learning in a way that makes sense to you. Sarah always went to being busy, right? She wanted to be busy again with her horse. And I said, wait, let's just wait. Let's see what she does. And Sarah stopped. So she stopped doing what she was doing. And we observed. And continue with the thought of, let's just get up. And so her horse started to prepare to get up, right? She shifted. She moved around a little bit. And again, what's going through Sarah's mind was, this horse is extremely difficult to get caught. What happens if she actually does get up? Then she's going to run away, because that's what she always does. I have to chase her to catch her. I said, just wait. Again, just have the intention. Just be present. And she did. And so her horse got up, and Sarah stepped closer to her horse. She gently put the halter on. And Sarah was completely silent. And this is from a rider who is actually always very busy, always very talkative, always very wanting to get things done. She stood there and she was completely silent. She could not believe what had just happened. And she was frozen, shocked. She was basically shocked. So what happened? And I spoke with her afterwards. I asked her what was happening in that moment when she was shocked and she was speechless and she was frozen. And she said that she had started to feel the connection. She had started to feel the connection that she had been yearning for all these years with her horse. And she's been around horses a long time and doing a lot of riding, a lot of things with her horse. But at that moment, that's when she started to feel the connection with her horse. And I said, was the connection one way or is it two ways? And she stopped for a moment and she thought about that. And at first, she could only see that the connection was one way, right? What she was saying with the horse. But as she thought and she contemplated that question, she could then see that the connection actually was two ways. And what her horse was doing as her horse was lying down in front of her, how her horse was actually communicating back to her. And she instantly felt closer to her horse. She felt the two-way connection, right? Just from being with her horse. So what she was not able to see, I coached her through, right? I helped her to see the path. I became the voice for the horse, and there was a three-way dance that was happening between the coach, the rider, and the horse. It wasn't a bunch of stuff to do without recognizing what we are feeling or what kind of energy is behind or what kind of connection or what kind of communion we were working on. It was a path for her to get to that connection. And she left feeling very satisfied. So once you feel what it's like to work with your horse in this way, you're not going to want to go back. You're not want to go, I mean, it's going to be something that you can't do on your own. You need help with. It's not a do-it-yourself, right? You need help with finding further how to get into the path. But that's where the bond gets stronger and stronger. Once you start to work with this way, everything gets deeper and deeper. The nuances start to come and be shown to you, how deep it actually goes and how the nuances are inspiring and liberating us to go even deeper, and how it all just feeds back and forth, that two-way feedback loop between horse and rider, rider and horse. So Sarah becomes more confident. The negative patterns fade, right? And the horse becomes more curious. The horse becomes more confident. They're both inspired to work with each other more and more. And that's the priceless moment. That's the priceless moment that I'm referring to, is that time when you realize there is the ability to connect in that way with your horse. And when you do, then you can reach your highest of goals, even go beyond your dreams that you have with your horse. And it's forever changed. How you approach your horse is forever changed. So let me know if that makes sense for you. And if you'd like support and you'd like help with this in some way that I've mentioned here today, if this resonates with you, then there'll be a link somewhere around this video. You can copy and paste the link or click on the link and find out how we can help you with our program. And if we're meeting for the first time, welcome. Great to have you here. Feel free to click on that link and jump on a call with us, with me or someone on my team, and we can see how we can help you with your horse. So, bye for now, and we'll see you next time.